Welcome to Body Hacking Build a Better You, the podcast where we unlock the secret to living a longer, healthier life and create our own blue zone in our life and within our family. I'm your host, Michaela Morell, and I'm here to provide you with the tools and knowledge to empower you to build a better you, one essential building block at a time. Today, I will share part 2 of what inspired me to start this podcast. And this part is about my mother. She's the strongest woman I know about, and she has escaped death so many times, so she's the biggest inspiration when it comes to not giving up. It is because of her I started doing research in nutrition and health, and I know her journey will inspire many of you. Thanks for being here. This is episode number 2 of Body Hacking Build a Better You podcast. And I'm your host, Michaela Morell. And today we're going to go into the story of my mom. We're going to talk about colon cancer. And the reason why I wanted to do this episode is simply because since colon cancer is one of the 4th most common cancer types, and in the United States, about 130,000 new diagnoses every single year, and it's about 50,000 that dies yearly of it. It is one of the deadliest cancer types in the world, and globally, it is 1.9 million that got diagnosed in 2020, with a very high death rate of 935,000 people. So colon cancer is a cancer that I'm very afraid of, to be honest, because when I was 17 years old, I took care of my grandpa. My mom and dad had a wedding in the United States. And just a few months before they left, he had been diagnosed with colon cancer. Before this, they never knew anything was wrong. He went in acute because he was in so much stomach pain. And when they opened him up, they saw that it was cancer all over and they couldn't do anything about it. He got back home again and we gave him morphine shots every day to kind of manage the pain that was involved with the colon cancer. And 3 months later, he passed. And being a 70-year-old, helping him with the shots, seeing him, talking with him daily, it affected me. I am super grateful. My grandpa became 86 years old. He was the best grandpa that you could have. But when my mom got her diagnosis in 2013, first, she actually had a surgery in 2013 for a benign tumor in her breast earlier that year. And later that year, she went in with pain and they discovered she had colon cancer. And of course, this was very scary to me because I had the experience of seeing my grandpa only live 3 more months. I started grieving my mom's death. I did not function at the beginning. I was remembering sitting on the couch, just staring into the wall. I couldn't even watch a TV show or anything. I was just so numb. And I was struggling a lot. And then I decided, we're not giving up. We're going to fight this. I'm going to do whatever I can to figure it out. So I started researching day and night after nutrients that could help the healing process. And when I'm talking about the healing process, I just have to do a disclaimer. When we're talking about the healing process, I'm talking about the body's ability to heal itself. And I do believe that the body can heal a lot by itself under the right circumstances. And a lot of the times, the body is just lacking essential nutrients and components that can play a vital role in the healing process. So I am not claiming that any nutrients itself will heal anything. It is the body's healing power. And if you are struggling today, I recommend you to talk to your doctor. I am not giving medical advice. I am simply sharing the story of my mom and what she did. And so don't take this as any type of advice. Consult your doctor. But my mom, she was listening to me. I laid up all the different evidences I found, scientific reports about changing the diet, and I put her on a very strict ketogenic diet because I wanted to starve out the cancer. And I also put her on lots and lots and lots of nutrients. And she got something into her body every single hour of the day that contained nutrients that she needed. And what was so fascinating to see was that she was starting to thrive. She responded very well. And she ended up having a surgery where they removed a lot of her colon. So they removed about 80 centimeters of her colon, which is about 31 inches, to be able to get rid of the cancer because it was spread and it was a pretty big lump of cancer. But she was thriving so well with the nutrition that we had put her on that the doctors actually judged her in a way that she did not need any chemo, she did not need any radiation. We could just remove that colon and she could keep on living her life. And that's what she did. She went back home. Most people did not even know that she had this life-threatening cancer, and she was thriving. She was active, riding horses, playing with grandkids, having a really amazing life. But this process made me understand that I'm pretty good at researching, and I'm pretty good at putting pieces together and seeing the big picture and understanding how everything is related. So this was a big reason why I went back to start study nutrition back at university again, because I came from a background of business and marketing and entrepreneurship. So what happened then was that my mom is a human. A lot of humans are struggling with keeping and maintaining good habits. So even if she was really good and kept a really good habit through her treatment, as soon as she was declared healthy again, she went back to some old habits. And some of those old habits was eating ice cream in the night, cookies. She's a very active lady, so she's struggling with eating as many calories as she needs to maintain her weight, running around on a horse ranch. So she did that. And life looked good. She was healthy, she was happy, and she was thriving. And in the end of 2016, we got another message that the cancer was back. And when they looked back at the x-rays they had done 6 months prior, they could see the cancer there too. It was just someone that missed it. And because of the cancer being there for over 6 months, it had been spreading, and it had been spreading all over. And the doctors pretty much said there is nothing we can do. But I did not want to accept that. My mom did not want to accept that. She's a fighter. And we went back. I kept on doing even more extensive research. And I put her on an even heavier protocol. Even more nutrients, more juicing, more. And the doctor said there was nothing they could do about it because the cancer was too close to big arteries. It had spread all over. It had spread into her bones. It was all of her uterus. It was pretty much everywhere. And we asked them to just do radiation. And they did radiation locally on her belly for 5 weeks. We also did a lot of nutritional intervention from she was first diagnosed in December of 2016 until she 6 months later got another surgery. So in 6 months of 5 weeks of radiation, and before and after and during, it was lots and lots of nutrients and supplementation. Her body had responded in a way where they could actually accept her to do another surgery because the cancer had been shrinking enough to be able to accepting another surgery. So I actually had my mom here visiting, and I want to take you on this journey because my mom is the most amazing woman. But seeing your parents sick and seeing them lose the color in their face, Seeing them struggle, and I'm here on YouTube showing a picture of my mom right now. It's hard because your parents are your everything. And my mom is truly so amazing. She's a mom of 8 kids. I'm going to find another picture here of my siblings as adults to show. But she have had a really rich life of many kids, and she have 28 or 29 grandkids now. She's so loving, vibrant, helpful. And here's another picture of me and my sisters and my mom. And a lot of these pictures I would not have been able to take unless we figured out something that was working for her. And I know a lot of people are battling hard out there. This is a very, very common cancer type. And I know because of my grandpa having it, my mom having it, I know that I am more prone to develop it. And that's why it's so important to understand epigenetics, because just because something is in your genes doesn't mean that you need to develop it. So I have been trying my best to do all the research I can to stay as healthy as possible for as long as possible. And even if I'm supposed to develop cancer sometime in the future, I'm hoping I can delay it with many, many, many years, because what we can see the real problem in the world right now is the increased levels of inflammation, the increased gut health issues that people are struggling with. Their microbiome is so poor. And those two in combination increases your risk for cancer. So if you can increase your healthy microbiome and have a better gut health and lower your levels of inflammation, we can see that the proliferation of cancer cells are reducing the risk of it. And we can also see that we can push the age limit. Because what is happening now is that if your grandparents have had it in their 80s, the next generation can have it in their 50s. The next generation can have it in their 30s, because we are all inheriting our parents' microbiome in birth. And then, because of the diet we're having today, we are feeding the bad microbiome and we are reducing the good microbiome because of our diet. And those two things, in combination with low vitamin D levels, since we are always indoors, low movement levels, because a lot of people are having jobs inside, office desk jobs. So a lot of different components are increasing our risk to develop it earlier and earlier and earlier. So what can we do to try to delay it as much as possible? And in this episode, I just want to give you a few things you should go out and research regarding colon cancer. And the first thing I want you to go out and research is type in importance of omega-6 to omega-3 ratio in your Google search. And there, a PubMed article will come up that will talk about the importance of omega-6 to omega-3 levels in your cell membrane. And it will show that when we're looking, the average was 15-1 pro versus anti-inflammatory building blocks in 2002. Today, it's much higher. Today, it's actually increased to 23 times too much inflammation. But if we're able to lower it down to only 2 times the inflammation, then we're actually seeing a reduction in proliferation with colon cancer. So go out, look at that research. It's very interesting. Then I want you to go to Google Scholar and type in beta 1316 glucan. And then you can type in cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, whatever cancer you are worried about developing. Because a lot of the things that we're struggling with today is that we're having malnutrition of essentials like omega-3s that are anti-inflammatory. We're having way less beta glucans that we're naturally eating in our diet. So if we just look at those two and improve those levels, we're creating better circumstances for our body. And of course, there's a lot more out there that we can do. But I just want to give you those two things to research for today. And I hope that you are going to be intrigued because all the research is making me take extra beta glucans every single day, and especially of the strain 1316. And of course, I am balancing my omega levels. I'm going to talk more about balancing omega levels, how you can measure it, how you can correct your imbalances. And then we'll also talk about why omega-3 supplements don't work, why they're using the wrong antioxidants, why it's not breaking down correctly in our body and being utilized. So watch out for the episode on omega balance coming out. But if we're going back to my mom's story, she was diagnosed again in 2017. She was told that there was nothing she could do. She ended up being allowed to have a surgery, and even if the surgery was very extensive, she needed to remove all of her uterus. They had to cut two of her nerves going down her leg, causing her to have some nerve pain that we're managing. They needed to scrape her bones, her hip bones, because the cancer had gone in there. They had to cut off the urine tract and sew it back in place because they had to remove the cancer that was around it. And there was an 8-hour surgery that my mom had to go through. What is fascinating when you're looking at survival rates from people that have been struggling with colon cancer is that you can read about it is that if you find it early enough, it is common for people to live 5 years after. Like how many people that had the cancer and is still alive after 5 years is pretty high. But the later you find the cancer, the less risk it is, the less chance it is, I mean. And looking at my mom, she was diagnosed in 2017. She had to remove the rest of her big colon, and she also had to remove a lot of her small intestines, making her struggle with absorption of nutrients, absorption of water. So she still needs IVs a few times a week to be able to get fluid into her system so she doesn't go into organ failure. But what is so fascinating is that that happened in 2017. Now it is 2024. That is 7 years after her surgery. And 7 years after her surgery, she actually was able to travel here to United States. And she was from Sweden with my dad this Christmas. And right now I'm showing a picture of me and her laying in my bed, cuddling like we did every morning when she was here, just laying and talking in the morning until we decided to get up. But I am so grateful for living today in this time where there is so much information out there. And I know it can be confusing. And I know it can be hard to sift through all the data. But the information is out there. The accessibility to get a hold of different nutrients are out there. And I am just encouraging you to never give up. We don't know what we know until we know it. And I'm going to try to do my best to keep and educate you guys about nutrients that can benefit your health, how it can benefit it, what you need to look for, what kind of diet is the most beneficial, how things are affecting our diet very negatively that we thought was affecting it positively. Can we source food sustainable? Can we source food in a way that we can keep our family as healthy as possible? I will keep on educating every single day because I know that knowledge is power. And that's the whole reason why I decided to create this podcast, because even the day I'm gone, this is going to be able to be a data bank of information and knowledge for your grandkids to be able to listen to. So I encourage you, if this episode was helpful to you, inspired you, or or you think can give someone hope, please send them and share it with them. And then look out for the next episode. We're going to release episodes weekly. And I'm so excited for you to be on this journey with me. Body hacking, Build a Better You, is truly about creating optimal levels and optimal body function so that we can live as healthy for as long as possible. Thank you. I'm Michaela Morell, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye. If you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to do one thing for me. Think of one person you want to share this podcast with and copy the link and send it right away. Thanks for playing an important role in the Blue Zone community. And if you want to keep on building a better you, one essential building block at a time, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next episode.